Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Chinwe Kalu and this podcast is on Vows with Chinwe Kalu. I'm so excited to be here. I have not been on Vows with Chinwe Kalu for a very long time, so I'm excited that this is a season when we need to go back to what we're doing and then build up. So what I'm doing in this season is to I wrote a book series called Before the Vows and I launched them in 2024, in August 2024. And since then, we're doing a lot of work in trying to get the books into people's hands. But these series are about giving life to the books and, taking it to another format. I mean, you write books, people read. You also bring it on air so people hear what the book's all about. And that might generate interest in going to actually get the books. So today, we're going to start with the first of the series called The God Factor in Marriage. And I'm going to do like a 4-part series concerning that, to explain that properly so that anybody who wants to know what we're talking about gets to hear what we're saying. Now, the series are targeted at premaritals, people who are just about to get married. That is, you're getting married anytime in 2026. This is the right time for you to be hearing me out, all right? Or you're already married, you got married late last year, halfway or early last year, or even in the year before, 2024, late 2024. This series will help you as you navigate the early years of marriage so that you're able to do better at it. Nobody really comes with a manual for marriage, so you need people to help and guide you, people who have been experienced, people who have been taught by God himself, and so that's what this is about, handing over the manual and handing over God's thoughts to the younger generation so that they can understand what God expects of them. All right, so this is going to be the first in the series and I'm trusting that you're going to enjoy them. They're not going to be very long, but just enough for you to take home and think about at every point in time. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about marriage as a concept that God came up with. It's not God thought it up. In the book of Genesis chapter 1, it talks about creation, all the different days, on the first day, second day, third day, fourth, fifth, sixth day. And then when he created man, he said he created them male and female in Genesis chapter 1. But in chapter 2, he kind of zooms in and begins to expose and, share his thoughts as he developed, as he decided about marriage, and how the whole marriage thing started. He first looked at Adam and said, "You're alone. I don't want you being alone. I don't like this alone you." Now, this being alone thing was not something that Adam ever complained about. He didn't say, "Why am I alone?" He didn't say, "I don't like this being alone. I'm lonely." Never. Adam was having a great time. All right. At some point, he said, "It's not good that Adam should be alone." He was going to create a help meet for him, and he did a strange thing. He made the animals pass before Adam and made Adam name all of them. And at some point, he now says Adam named them all, but there was none found to be adequately, somebody that could be with him. Okay, so it looked as if he was looking for, something, a companion for Adam amongst the animals. And it's like, no, this don't fit. Adam couldn't find anything that could fit, or it wasn't as if Adam was in a search for anything. He was just naming the animals. But I think as he was naming the animals, God was watching. Was there any that, at some point, it became obvious that these ones are just animals. They can't be the way Adam is. Adam is a higher being. And so he now said, "I'm going to make a helpmeet for you." All right? And then now put him to sleep. At this point, after he had named the animals, he now put him to sleep. And now brought out the rib and created the woman. And in creating the woman was God's masterpiece. God's, it's like after the woman, there was nothing else. Creation was done. And he was now happy with himself and now went into rest. Okay? So the truth is that marriage is not us who conceived it. It's not human beings who conceived it. No. Marriage is not a cultural concept. It's not something that our culture, taught us how to do. No. God did it from the onset. He did it from the onset. It was his thing, it was his thought, it was his concept, and he created it. By the time he brought Eve to Adam, the woman he had created to Adam immediately identified that this one is part of me. She came out of me. She's flesh of my flesh, bone of my bones. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. That's marriage right there. And as for this cause, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Marriage, right there. Right there. So when you realize it, then you understand that if you are going to do marriage right, you cannot do it by cultural concepts, because it's not a cultural concept. You can't say, hey, in our culture, this is how we do marriage. No, if you do it that way, you're not going to do it right. Why? Because culture has compromised the things that God, wants for marriage. Some people will say, in these times, this is how we do it. No, it's also not a function of the seasons and times. There's a way God thought about it. There's a way God wanted to do it. There's a way God thinks we should do it. And that's the way we should do it. So you can't say, they no longer do it like that. These are our times. No. It's not subject to, times, 20th century, 21st century, 18th century. No. Marriage in all those seasons is still the same as far as God is concerned, and the rules have not changed. The way God designed it, it hasn't changed. It can still be worked exactly the way God designed it in today's world. The thing is, you who's getting married are the person who has to decide, how am I going to do this marriage? How am I going to work marriage such that it benefits me? Am I going to go cultural, or am I going to go godly? Am I going to go, the zeitgeist way? How they are doing it now? All right, and there are so many things wrong with the way they do it now. So you can't afford to go that way if you want to have a good time in marriage. So I've just come to share with you God's thoughts on the issue. The first thing that we must know is that it is not, we didn't create it, He did, and then handed it over to us. Okay? It was after He brought the woman to the man that He now says it's for this cause that a man leaves his father and mother and goes to marry a woman. All right? And then lives with her. So don't think of it as a concept that you can do the way you like. If you do that, you've missed it completely. If you do that, you missed it completely. You have to understand that if you want to build a marriage that is, happy, that you thrive in as a man or woman, then you have to intentionally go after marriage and intentionally build your marriage with the wisdom that only God can give. All right? If you do it that way, you'll be fine. But if you try cultural, you'll be fine up to some point. But after some point, you find out that it's not working. It won't work. If you do it the zeitgeist way, as in the way people are doing it now, we're in the 21st century, you will also find that it might work for some time, but after a while, it will lose the power to hold it together, because it is not designed to hold it together. It's only God who can hold marriage together. His principles is what can hold marriage together. All right? Even the way we think about marriage will change completely when you understand God's mind about it. So it is not a cultural concept. It is not something that God has a system the way He wanted marriage to be. Okay? It's not a game. No, it's not. It's something you must think about and decide and understand that if I want to do it that way, God is the originator, God is the sustainer, and the model that He has is what will work for me, and then align yourself with it. God is the foundation. Marriage becomes the structure. And when you have children, you pass on a legacy to your children of how to do marriage. Now, when you understand that, then you understand that it's also not about you, that there's a kingdom purpose. Remember that we're looking at it from the God factor of marriage. There's a kingdom purpose for every marriage, all right? And the general kingdom purpose is to show forth the glory of God, to give people an understanding of what Christ and the church looks like, to give people an understanding of how God's love functions. People around you are watching, and marriage is the one thing that God can use to tell people about Himself, your marriage. And if you understand that, then you will understand why you need to hold on to the God concept of marriage. Okay? We don't want media influence to be that which controls your marriage. I remember a young girl was telling a guy, I know what I see on Instagram when she was talking about their relationship. Are you going to use Instagram? Is it Instagram you're going to use to run your family? Of course not. All right? It's not about cultural wars either. Okay? It's not about all the things that we deal with. There's a lot of trauma in our system these days, and people are traumatized by different things, and all those things come to bear when you now want to get married. Sometimes even the fear of failure in marriage makes you're not exactly ready for marriage. So at the end of the day, there's a God family system. There's a way God works it. And so we have to go back to the ancient parts and find out, what does God say about this thing? Okay? He's clear. It's not about gender politics either. Okay? It's not any of that. It's just, this is the way He does it. And if we just work with Him, we'll be fine. You know, at the end of the day, we must not be afraid to walk with our God. We must not be afraid to walk with our God. We must embrace the fact that God's thoughts towards us are good thoughts. So when he asks us to go in a certain direction, it's because he's thinking of our good. Okay? And if you have that understanding, then you will gladly accept whatever it is that he says to you. All right? And recognize that marriage is not a milestone. It's not something you have to do at a certain time. It's actually something you're doing with and for God. So when you understand that, okay, then you will do what you're supposed to do. You will give it what it is. So you recognize that it's a union that is between a man and a woman. It is built on love. It is built on commitment. It's built on mutual support for each other. Okay? And what you are looking for is a lifelong partnership where you both take responsibilities of your experiences and your emotions and your decisions. Okay? Now the idea is companionship, emotional connection and security, and even personal growth. Because if there's one thing that makes people grow, it's marriage. Marriage will make you grow where other things fail. Your spouse will make you grow. Marriage is like sandpaper. You understand? Two people coming together. It's like sandpaper. You know that when you're rubbing them together, it feels really rough. But by the time you've done it, it becomes smooth. And that's what marriage does for you. So if there's something that actually makes you a better person, marriage does. All right? So, and that's the framework for raising a family, having children. If you're having children and you're not decided to marry, you're not in the right place. All right? So, a lot of it depends on how you respect each other, how you communicate with each other, how you trust each other, the kind of values both of you share, and all that. But everything comes together in the fact that you recognize that it's all about God. That's the first place. It's all about God. All right? It was created by God himself for his own pleasure, not for our pleasure. In the process of doing it the way he wants, we will get pleasure, but it's for him, not you. Ultimately, it becomes something that blesses you. But don't think about it as something just for you, because if you do, you will never give it what it takes. So the first thing I must say is the fact that you have to have the understanding that this thing is not about you. It's about God and God alone. And if you recognize that, you give it what it takes if you have the fear of God in your heart. Okay? So that's the first thing. And I just want you to walk away with that and give it some thought. But I haven't talked about the details of what God is saying to you. We're just saying this is the first thing you must know about marriage. That it's God who created it. It is God who sustains it. It is God who will help you with it. And that is the bottom line. If we take God out of the equation, we'll go cultural. If we take God out of the equation, we'll become 21st century couples. If you take God out of the equation, you go to media for counsel. If you take God out of the equation, you have nothing to work with. Because everything that they will tell you will work for a short while, then after some time it will fizzle out, and then what happens? So, the first thing that I want to leave with you today is that it's of God, it's sustained of God, it is for him, to his pleasure, for his pleasure, and out of his pleasure, you derive pleasure. Thank you so much for listening to me. I encourage you to get the books. They're available. All you have to do is call the number on the screen, and we can send them across to you here in Nigeria. If you live out of the country, online, you can also, the link is right on the screen. So all you need to do is click on it, and it will take you to where you can buy them. Thank you so much. God bless you.